I would be crazy to do a podcast and not talk about the biggest fear that I think educators have with AI, and that's cheating. So what does it mean when 9 out of 10 students are using AI as a tool, but only 1 out of 5 teachers feel confident teaching with it? They're either using AI and learning with AI through your help, or they're just gonna learn it without you. You've seen Terminator 2, great movie. Robots are just gonna take over the world. Is AI gonna take over the world? Hopefully you don't feel that way, but if you do, I'm here to change your mind. Welcome to From Classroom to Campus, the podcast where we explore the ever-evolving world of education, one real challenge and bold idea at a time. I'm your host, Philip Bates, and we're continuing our series on things in education that make me go, Today, we're diving into a topic that's buzzing louder than the copy machine during exam week: artificial intelligence in education. There's excitement, there's confusion, and yes, there's a healthy dose of panic. But here's the thing, AI isn't here to steal your job or hijack your lesson plans. It's not that kind of robot uprising. In this episode, we'll unpack how AI can actually support student learning rather than just being feared as the ultimate cheating machine. I'm gonna share with you some classroom tested insights. I've got a few hot sports takes, and maybe even shift the way you think about what's possible. So, thank you for joining me. Super excited to be here. Love the topic. If you've got topics that you're super interested in, please throw them in the comments. I want to hear from you, and hopefully I'll hear another great topic and can do another great podcast on it. One thing I'm working on is I am working on a solo podcast on cell phone usage. More importantly, banning cell phones in high schools. You're seeing that national trend happening where cell phones are no longer being acceptable in high schools and schools in general, and they're moving them out. And there's going to be a huge impact on instruction, a huge impact on students, and I'm excited to talk about that. So look for that down the road, but today we're going to focus on AI. What inspired this episode on AI and education? Well, that's pretty much all you hear about is AI. AI in general, but specifically AI in education. If you're out with your friends, they want to talk about AI. If you are talking to your child, they want to talk about AI. It's just everywhere. It's in podcasts, it's in articles, it's all around us, and I felt like we should talk about it because of the angst around it, just because of everybody's different thoughts. And so I'm gonna share with you my thoughts, and you can hopefully listen to it, and maybe it's an educational topic that makes you go, So let's talk about what our objectives are today. I'm gonna share some data, of course. I love to share data when I do these kind of things, so we'll dive into some data. I'm gonna share some fears that I've heard, and some fears that you've probably heard. Then I'm going to talk about all the positives around AI. I'm actually going to talk about the positive things going on with AI and how it can positively impact schools and instruction and parents and teachers and everybody. And then we're going to give you some recommendations. So I'll share with you some things that I would recommend teachers and educators think about or do. And then finally, I'm going to give you some resources, and we'll put those resources in the show notes, and you can go back and reference those. I'm coming at this discussion today, this conversation, I guess, with you from 3 different lenses. Number one, my son. My son is a senior in high school this year, and last year he was a junior, and last year he used AI a ton. At times, it kind of made me nervous because I was like, what are you using AI for, and are you cheating using it? So I had to kind of get past that, had some good conversations with him, had him show me a lot of things. And I was, ended up being really impressed with how he could prompt AI, how AI was helping him. He's not the best writer in the world. I've been kind of amazed to see how AI has helped him write emails to college coaches. He's in the whole recruiting thing, and he writes a bunch of emails to college coaches. Not a strong writer, and he uses AI for outlines. He uses AI to kind of make sure his grammar and things are okay. And that's been kind of fascinating to see. So that's one lens I've got, looking at AI. Second is my wonderful wife, who is an assistant principal at a junior high. And it's been fascinating watching an educator in my house explore AI and watching her be nervous and apprehensive, sometimes excited, sometimes seeing this great possibilities in AI, and watching that kind of evolution happen in front of me. And then my last lens is me. So it's me as a former educator, and it's me, as you guys know, if you've listened to several of my podcast episodes, you've probably heard me talk about what my job is. And my job is helping AP teachers, helping students with SAT and ACT stuff. I've got this amazing team of former AP teachers and current AP teachers, and we're building this great curriculum, these great support things for AP teachers. And we're looking to AI to increase our effectiveness and, more importantly, to increase our efficiency. And that's been fascinating to kind of explore. I'm going to tell you guys, AI cannot write a fantastic AP question. We've certainly explored and messed around with it, and it's not doing those type of things. So it's highly skilled, got to have tons of experience type of tasks, but it does make us more efficient in things we do. But the most exciting part of AI for me in my professional life, supporting educators, is the possibility it has for grading essays. If you're an AP teacher, you know about FRQs, and you know that essay component to AP testing is critical. It's like 50% of the exam. It takes a lot of time for teachers to grade essays. And what does that normally mean? That normally means they're not going to assign a bunch of essays. They're not as excited, or from a practicality purpose, wanting to dive into a lot of essay practice because they got to spend hours and hours grading essays. So we're exploring, grading essays using AI, and then teachers validating those scores, which hopefully will save them a lot of time. But those are the three lenses that I see AI through currently. You've probably got your own various lenses, but those are my three. We want to talk about the data. So let's dive into the data first, and then we'll kind of shift over to the fears. We know students are using AI. We know teachers are using AI. How much? So from a student perspective, it is estimated that 85 to 95% of students are actively using AI tools. And of those 85 to 95%, 54% of those are using them weekly, and 30% are using them daily. What is their favorite tool of choice? ChatGPT. 2/3 of students use that specifically, according to my research. Take that and compare it to teachers. It drops down a little bit. So 50 to 65% of teachers are using AI tools in some parts of their work. And then only about 30% are using it weekly. And this is the number that kind of got me. 17% say they feel confident using AI for instruction. That is not a high number. And that, kind of resonates with me, all the fear and the, angst and the unsureness of using AI, specifically on student-facing things. You'll see a big contrast there, with the amount of student usage and amount of teacher usage. And there's also, 72% of teachers feel like AI could be more effective for them. So basically, 72% of teachers feel like AI could be a tool for them to be more effective. I think that's an interesting number too. They want AI to help. They want it to save them time and help their students. I just don't think they know exactly how to make that happen. A couple of great quotes I found. So what does it mean when 9 out of 10 students are using AI as a tool, but only 1 out of 5 teachers feel confident teaching with it? I think that's an interesting statement. And then AI is a new literacy, and students are learning with it or without us. So, they're either using AI and learning with AI through your help, or they're just going to learn it without you. So I think those are kind of interesting things to talk about. Let's talk about the fears. I would be crazy to do a podcast and not talk about the biggest fear that I think educators have with AI, and that's cheating. And, when you're talking about cheating and you're talking about, cheating's been going on forever. But I think what scares teachers about AI is, in their minds, in a lot of educators' minds, all the answers are in AI. So instead of a student cheating by, texting his friend and getting a picture of the homework, or having to make some effort to find the answers to something, all a student has to do is type it into ChatGPT, and there's all the answers. So and I think educators' minds, it's making cheating incredibly easy. And that is certainly something that puts a lot of fear in educators. There are tools out there, as you know, that can spot AI cheating, but unfortunately, they are not as effective as teachers would like them to be. In fact, AI is progressing so quickly. Tools like Turnitin AI and GPT-0, they just can't keep up. So if you're a teacher going, hey, I don't fear AI as far as cheating is concerned because I've just got this great tool and it's always going to show if my students are cheating, it's just not going to be the case. But I want to kind of dive into cheating a little bit and, tell you a story that I think relates to cheating in general. When I was a new principal, we were looking for great teachers. You're always looking for great teachers as a principal. And we had screening questions. So these were questions that we used to screen possible teacher candidates. And there was a question in that screener that was simply, what should you do if you catch a student cheating? So I'd sit down with a candidate, a teacher, and I would ask that question, what would you do if you caught a student cheating? And there was a right answer to that question, and there was a wrong answer to that question. And if they got the wrong answer, you kind of moved them over to the, hey, we're going to look at some other candidate kind of pile. And the wrong answer was you were going to, give them a consequence immediately. You're going to yell at them. You're going to nail them to the wall. You're going to do all those things that when you're mad, you do to students. That was the wrong answer. The correct answer, and the ones that got you points and the ones that kind of moved you to the top of the stack of, hey, this is a really great teacher to hire, was I'm going to have a conversation with that student. And I'm going to try to find out why they're cheating and what was the motivation behind cheating. And I think that's the important thing to still realize about cheating. AI or anything else using for cheating, it's understanding why students are cheating and, trying to come to grasp, with that. And I bring that up because there are assignments and tasks and assessments that we create as educators that are making it incredibly easy to cheat on using AI. And I think there's got to be some extreme ownership with educators to try to, as best we can, to make assignments, projects, assessments in such a way where you can't just simply use AI for the answers. So, I kind of take that a little bit step further. With essays, and I think that's a big thing. I gave a student an essay. He went home, he used ChatGPT, and he wrote the whole thing. Okay, well, what's the thing you can do about that? Well, I can just have him sit in my class, and he's just going to handwrite that essay, and I'm going to watch him write the whole entire thing. Well, you certainly can take that route. I wouldn't recommend that route, specifically if you're an AP teacher and you're having students who are taking an AP exam that has digital FRQs, essays on them. Not a good route to take. Understand with AI, essay, you can certainly plug in a prompt for an essay and certainly get an essay that AI will write for you. But if you make that essay assignment a certain way, it makes things a lot more difficult for AI to be used as a cheating tool. For example, AI is not really great about putting historical references into essays. AI is also not helpful at all if you were to say, hey, the assignment tonight is take the discussion we had in class today and reference some of those points that were made in your essay. AI was not in your class today. AI was not part of that conversation. So there's just a couple of things you can do to kind of navigate these waters of suggesting or coming up with essay assignments and not having to worry about AI is being this tool to cheat with. I think some other fears, getting away from cheating for a second, we could talk about cheating for a long time, but moving away from that is I think teachers and educators really have a fear because they don't have all the knowledge of AI. They don't know exactly, how it's changing, where it's changing, how it's going to impact them. So I think that knowledge, knowledge is power, and not having that knowledge is a scary thing for them. I think, if you go out and look at school districts, a lot of school districts don't have policy on how to appropriately use AI and how not to use AI, because just like educators, district folks are trying to figure it out. So there's lack of policy out there, and there's lack of professional learning. There's lack of these amazing, staff development, professional learning opportunities provided by school districts that are going to help empower you to be this fantastic, facilitator in your classroom who's using AI in these incredible, helpful ways. So I think that's where the fear is too, is they can't lean on, well, I went to this great professional learning opportunity and I learned all these things. It explains AI. I know where AI is going. I've got these great suggestions. We're missing that. And I think that's where that fear is coming into play too. And I think just overall, there's just a fear of AI from an unknown. What's it going to look like in 2 years, in 3 years? I call it the Terminator 2 theory. You've seen Terminator 2? Great movie. Robots are just going to take over the world. Is AI going to take over the world? And a lot of people are so afraid of that. They do what people do when they're fear for something. They just don't involve it in their lives. So they just stay away from AI because they're so scared of kind of what would happen someday of robots just, taking over and AI robots taking over things. I'm getting a little carried away. Anyways, all right, let's talk about the positives of AI. So there are some amazing positives, and hopefully when you're listening to this, if you're going, there are no positives, nothing Philip's gonna say that is a positive thing about AI. Hopefully you don't feel that way, but if you do, I'm here to change your mind. Every day, educators work tirelessly to keep high school students motivated. But despite their best efforts, too many students still feel lost in a system that doesn't always support their success. At UWorld, we believe education is about unlocking a future full of possibilities. That's why our team of educators created teaching and learning tools for the advanced placement exams. Powerful, easy-to-use resources that help students master even the most challenging concepts. Content that features dynamic visuals created by world-class artists and interactive elements that spark curiosity and a love for learning. Our mission is to help every student reach their full potential. Whether that means earning valuable college credit by excelling on AP exams or achieving their dream SAT score, UWorld is here every step of the way. Every day, across the country, students are using UWorld to turn their aspirations into reality. Discover how UWorld can help your students succeed. Visit collegereadiness.uworld.com to learn more. Let's talk for students first, all right? You've got a student who doesn't have a parent in the home who can provide assistance on homework, miss class, miss the opportunity to sit in front of an incredible teacher and hear the lesson, and needs to learn content. I'm not talking about needs to cheat. I'm not talking about just getting answers on things, but needs to learn content. ChatGPT just came out with this really great thing. It's called study mode. And ChatGPT is saying, hey, we don't just want to give students, high school students, answers. We want to actually help teach them this content. And I think that is a positive thing from the AI universe where you can use it as a teaching tool. If a student is studying for a test and doesn't have this great extensive review, it can ask AI to generate a test and practice using those test questions. So it's an incredible tool for students, and it can kind of level the playing field, folks. You, as a student who doesn't have access to tutoring, doesn't have access to, certain resources, using, the AI, using AI to help and support their learning is a very much a positive thing. From a parent standpoint, oh my gosh, if you're a parent out there listening, how many battle royales did you have with your children when you're trying to help them with, well, just name it, geometry, calculus, history, and your child is saying, no, Dad, this is the answer. No, Mom, this is the answer. You don't know what you're talking about. When you know your child's wrong and you're not real confident you're correct, well, now you've got a tool as a parent to go to help teach you and your child at the same time, or to help fill in some gaps there. So I think from a parent perspective, it's an incredible tool for education. And I think it should give parents a lot of confidence and hopefully help them want to help their child and support their child with homework, because we all as adults, it's been a long time since I've done statistics or calculus or any of those subjects. And so when I'm helping my own child, it's nice to kind of have a tool there that can be a help. Yes, we had the internet. Yes, we had some other things. AI is just so much more efficient with that. I think another big piece for parents, I would encourage parents to use AI to communicate appropriately with educators. So parents out there, if you are listening and you feel the need to email your child's wonderful teacher, how about you take your possible response, your email, and put it into AI and ask it, how's my tone? How's this going to come across? Is there a point I'm missing? Maybe put it through that filter. It might even give you a little bit of feedback that will help you better communicate with your fantastic teacher. So I hope that that's a positive for parents too, that they can use it to communicate better with educators by, maybe putting it through AI and getting their opinion. Also, from a educator standpoint, let's talk about the positives for a teacher, an educator. It's going to save you time, folks. Utilizing AI is going to save you time. I talked about the whole essay grading stuff. When we get to the point where AI is grading essays effectively, think about all that time that you've got to put back into lesson planning and working with your students. So that's just one of the many ways it can save you time. It can inspire you. You can put in some prompts into AI and get some fantastic lesson plans, some fantastic ideas. You have mounds of data, piles and mountains of data. It is incredible at analyzing data. Using AI to analyze data is something I've seen my wife, who's an assistant principal, like I said, use. I've seen many folks effectively use AI to look through data effectively. And so I think that's another huge positive, for teachers. I think it will help educators write better assessments. I think as educators, we worry about AI dissolving all the wonderful critical thinking skills out there. AI is not going to take away critical thinking. But as a teacher, as an educator, you can build assessments that not only are AI proof or resistant, I should say, but also, really push students to that critical thinking. And so it'll challenge you to come up with, questions that are maybe a little bit more of that analysis level. So those are some positives. As far as recommendations, so let's get to the recommendation side. We talked about the negatives. I've talked about the positives. As far as recommendations that I've got for educators, I think number one, be a trailblazer. Teachers, you're trailblazers anyway. Educators, you are trailblazers by nature. You take on new things. You find ways to do more with less. Just your nature is being a trailblazer. And I would say be a trailblazer with AI and try it. Try it any way that feels comfortable to you. Try it in ways that makes you uncomfortable, but you're willing to be uncomfortable and kind of grow forward. I think push for trainings, professional learning opportunities in your school districts. Talk to your district folks about, hey, wouldn't it be great to have this incredible professional learning opportunity for teachers? When's the last time we went to a district and said, hey, we actually would like some training? So this is your opportunity to, request and ask for some fantastic professional learning opportunities to make you feel more comfortable with AI. I think another thing is really encourage your district to come up with AI policies. I think that's a really important thing that education schools need are some policies around AI, what's appropriate usage, what's appropriate tools, et cetera. And that segues me into a couple of big recommendations and big asks possibly for teachers. First of all, consider developing your own digital literacy responsibility AI course. All that to say, consider developing an AI course that you create that helps kids understand AI and helps them understand how to prompt AI, how to use it for the power of good, not evil, and how to make the most of it. And you guys can learn together. And I know the idea about building a course, you're like, I don't have any time for that, and where am I going to put that in? It's worth the time. It's worth the class time to educate and empower your students and yourself on AI. And there are a ton of resources, and I'll go over those in a second, that you can use to essentially write your course for you. And then lastly is create an AI usage contract. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see my AI usage contract that I actually whipped up for you. It wasn't hard to do. What a great AI usage contract includes, what AI tools are permitted, what AI tools are not permitted, what AI activities are permitted, what AI activities are not permitted. You would have the student sign this, you would have the parent sign this. For example, ways you want students to use AI: brainstorming ideas for essays, creating practice questions for themselves, checking their grammar. How wonderful would it be if all your wonderful students out there put in their writing when they were done and said, hey, can you help me with my grammar? I know you would love to read the appropriate there, and there in an essay. I just know you would. So, these kind of things are really important to put into, a usage agreement. In terms of things that you don't want them to use AI for, you don't want them submitting an AI-generated essay that's not their work. Put that in writing. Have them sign it. I think that's important to do. Using AI to create deep fakes and offensive content. Put that in writing. I think it's important to do. Let them know what tools you're great with. Are you great with them using ChatGPT? Are you great with them using Grammarly? Those are things important to put down. I think also the consequences of misuse are huge. So it's always important to lay out for students, what your expectations are and what the consequences are if you don't reach those expectations. So consider doing a contract like that. It's easy to do. I whipped one out just because I was curious about what one might look like. Of course, I used AI. It kind of inspired some stuff and I did some tweaks. So consider doing that. I think it's a great idea. In terms of resources, if you are going, all right, Philip, you said you're going to give us some resources. I like the idea about doing this usage contract. I like the idea about doing a course on AI. There's some great ones. commonsensemedia.org, amazing resource. It'll help you come up with classroom policy. It'll help you write one of these contracts. It's fantastic. teachai.org. You want lesson plans, ideas for days. You want curriculum possibilities for days. That is a great, great place to go. And then aiforall.org. There's even lesson plans for CTE teachers out there. Hey, CTE teachers, I hear you. There's not a lot of wonderful resources out there specifically around AI. This actually is a great resource for you with AI. And it also has curriculum ideas for a million different topics. So check those three things out. I think you'll find that they're great resources. I think you'll find that it might kind of open doors for you and help you be the trailblazer that I really encourage you to be. Folks, thank you for listening today. Hopefully, I said a few things that make you go, about AI and education. I want to thank my folks who helped me produce the show. They do all the work. I just, sit at this chair and talk. They do all the work behind the scenes, which I greatly appreciate. Please keep on listening. We want those 5-star ratings if you loved what you heard. We want those comments. We want those suggestions. We want to hear from you and build a community with you. Educators, thank you for all that you do. And hey, keep on doing hard things and pushing yourself. That is the best way to approach life. Also, one last thing, this presentation today was not built by AI. All right, that's all I got today. Thanks for joining me. Have a fantastic day. The opinions expressed by our guests and hosts are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views from Classroom to Campus, UWorld, or its affiliates. You can find us on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Please remember to subscribe and leave a 5-star rating that really helps us out. Thank you so much.